Yes, welcome back to another video, guys. LB here with Matisse, man. We're going to be taking a look at the Chelsea City game, the Premier League one. Obviously, we've got the FA Cup coming up the weekend. That'll probably be a separate video, man. Be sure to check out part 1 of the preview, which is going on Matisse's channel. So yeah, we talk about quite a lot of stuff there, quite an in-depth conversation. This is going to be a little bit more quicker. We've also got a member chat video coming up after this as well, man, where we take a look who's going to get top 4, who's going to win the Prem, relegation and Champions League. So if you're an Xtra Club member, be sure to check that one out as well. But first of all, Matisse, bro, what we saying? We good?
I am good outside of football. Do you know what I mean? I am now looking and clawing at other means and other ways to enjoy life. Do you know what I mean? I'm waiting for the Formula One to return that. I'm ninth in the table.
Football, the way I try and think about this is, football ain't that deep, man.
It's not even that deep. Like, really, let's think about it. It's not even that important.
It ain't deep. I want to get into the Premier League, but before I do, I want to, obviously, last time we did a video together was, I think I come on your channel and we spoke about sort of get Jesus and Sterling transfers, which at the time I think weren't completed. Obviously, you signed Sterling from us, 50 mil, something like that. How has he been getting on at at Chelsea? Because I know a lot of City fans that probably, because we've not got the width in our team, would probably like to keep him. But how's he got on at Chelsea this season?
It's been more downs than ups, but I don't really blame him. I think he's come into an existing system that is flawed, that is imbalanced, and he's just become part of chaos, hasn't he, really? Because I think Sterling's a very, very good player. I think he's shown that his career speaks for itself. He's gone into even Southgate systems and performed in Euros. And he had a man-of-the-match performance against Bournemouth, be it only Bournemouth, but at this point, you can't take anything for granted in this league. Any 3 points is the holy grail at this point. He had a great performance against Bournemouth, got an assist, played on the right wing. I remember when we did our video, you were saying to me how much on the right wing he can cause problems with his chance creation, the cutbacks, give you the width on the touchline, and he played the same position against in the last match against Nottingham Forest. But unfortunately, he did get bodied, he did get dominated. But I feel like again the midfield went missing to the point where the attackers struggled as well because they didn't have the right combinations. I'm looking at Sterling and his closest players were Zakaria in half spaces, who's not an attacking midfielder, and was too advanced in my opinion. And then Aspilicueta behind him, who offers nothing going forward. He's not good enough from a technical standpoint going forward or from a physicality standpoint. So am I surprised that Sterling, surrounded by those two, had nothing to really offer in the match against Nottingham Forest? I'm not. So for me, with Sterling, I think it's been a tough start. He's also had to play a number of positions. He's played wing back under Potter as well. In back 3 formations, he's played wing back. So it's been all over the shop. But I still think that once Chelsea rectify and rejuvenate their midfield, whether that be with Enzo Fernandez, it still needs to be another one alongside that in the summer at a bare minimum. Once they get rid of aging players that slow the game down off and on the ball, then I think Sterling will improve hopefully next season.
It's an interesting one, man, because Sterling, I've always said Sterling, when he's got the confidence and is in a team that suits him, world class. Absolutely, no doubt about that. If you don't put him in a team that's world class and his confidence ain't there, then I do think sometimes he can look average at best. You know what I mean? But I think if for me as well, I said this in the summer. I remember saying this to you. What do you think about getting a proper striker in there instead of playing like a Havertz in that sort of attacking role? Do you agree that maybe that would help him as well? Or do you reckon Havertz is good enough to sort of complement Sterling's crossing ability and stuff like that?
No, I mean, Havertz is definitely not showing that he's a striker. I mean, he's not a striker. He played as a striker for Bayer Leverkusen after lockdown a couple of years ago, and I watched him and he scored some goals, but that is a whole different league. There's a high line. There's a lot of different factors that come into play. And I think Kai Havertz is in a weird area right now where what is his best position? Where
I agree,
play?
I agree.
What is
his best position for you, bro?
Bro, I have no idea. Bro, I don't know. I don't know. Because if you're going to play the cam position, you've got to have, for me, strength when you hold up the ball. And Kai Havertz is a bit wishy-washy. So the issue with him is that sometimes he shows his application. He tracks back. He works really hard some games. He tackles. And when he's in that mode where he switches that switch, particularly against Tottenham, he becomes a big dog and he starts to show that he's got a bit of shithousery in him, but it's not consistent over the whole season. So some games he does look a little bit lightweight. He does look a bit wishy-washy. He does get bodied. When he receives the ball in half turn, he can be dispossessed. So he's a little bit too up and down to do that lone striker role for me week in, week out. You do need someone more clinical as well. He's not the most clinical finisher at all. He's not giving us enough goals. So I think we do need a striker, but that is one of the least of my problems because the team is not even catered to create enough chances for a striker. There's no chance creation in midfield. I think as well with a striker, it has to be a striker that's technically able to link up the play, to create as well. I don't want a striker that needs service because of that chance creation issue that I spoke about there. And hopefully that will improve with Enzo Fernandez and maybe you get a DM and that gives you the license. I think we're seeing this season, chance creation improves drastically when you have a holding midfielder that you can rely upon. Thomas Partey winning that transition against Brighton, giving it, and then the goal comes from that. Rodri, for you guys, has been shown. Casemiro has made a massive difference to Manchester United. He's up there with one of the signings of the season. I'm seeing Man United against Nottingham Forest, the very team we dropped points against when they played them last week at Old Trafford. They're committing 6-7 bodies forward, and they're just leaving Casemiro by himself to just handle business. And we can't afford to do that. And when we try to do that against Nottingham Forest and we let Zakaria roam too far from Jorginho, then Jorginho's caught out in transition. So that for me is actually very important for the chance creation. We've obviously got Nkunku coming in as well. He could maybe potentially be a false nine. He could end up doing a false nine role. I don't know. But right now, the midfield is the priority. And then, for sure, hopefully in the future, we become a lot more clinical, whether that's from a striker or inverted wingers. I don't mind.
Yeah, you're right on the CDM, man. You get a top class, not top class, you get a world class CDM in there.
Yeah.
I think that position probably impacts the football team more than any other because it, like you say, bro, it gives a license. And what it does is not only gives a license, but then players know whoever plays in front of the CDM know that I can go forward a little bit here because if I lose the ball or something goes wrong, the guy behind me is going to save my ass 9 times out of 10. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you take just a slightly lower quality CDM, I think it completely destroys the side. That's why having someone like a Rodri, who I think is the best CDM in the world, Casemiro, who I think is the second best CDM in the world, a Partey at Arsenal, who's done well as well. Obviously, Kante, when he was in his prime, playing a slightly deeper role. Fernandinho, of course. These players, man, there's no surprise these players have had success. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're so good. We'll talk about Havertz. From one striker to another, Erling Haaland, brother, you got to tell me, man. Just because at the moment I'm a little bit feeling a bit down. I'm a bit low, yeah. So can you just gas me up a little bit with some Erling Haaland agenda, bro? Well, what have you made of his start, man? It's been insane, isn't it?
Bro, I've lost count of how many goals he's on. Is it 21?
What, in the Prem or comps? What are we talking here, bro?
Just in the Prem, because all comps will be here all day.
I think, 21 just in the Premier League, yeah.
It's insane, really. It's actually insane. And it's something that can only really be replicated on FIFA. Do you know what I mean? The amount of goals he's actually scoring is wild. And I don't think people should underestimate, just because you guys create a lot of chances, that suddenly he should be doing this. This is record. This is record breaking. And there's a certain man at Liverpool who we're seeing get just as many, if not more, big chances per game. And he ain't giving you the same results. So it goes to show that Haaland's finishing really is that mad. Because even actually in the game that I watched last week that you guys played, he did miss a couple of chances, but he makes sure that he bags a couple as well to make up for it.
The Leeds game,
the Leeds game. And Nunes right now is missing chances galore. Do you know what I mean? We've all seen it. So yeah, you just have to credit Haaland, the mentality to just constantly keep finding himself in the right areas, to constantly keep putting the ball in the back of the net. And I think he's one of those players that he doesn't overcomplicate things. He doesn't do things that he doesn't know how to do. He sticks to his job. He's one of these players that, despite scoring all these goals, I don't get the sense that he's like taking all the limelight. He's the main man. He's the ego in the team. He seems to just be a normal player in a squad of or team of 11 that just does his job and everybody else do their job, and then we'll all be fine. He doesn't kind of look like the face of Manchester City. It's really weird. You think with that many goals, he would be like the guy, arms up in the air when he doesn't get the ball, things like that. But he's just part of the team. It's really good. I'm very impressed.
He's a very interesting player as well, because if you actually look at his sort of, other than his goals, he actually doesn't do that much for our team. Like,
No.
if you go on his stats after each game, I don't think I've ever seen him have more than like 25, maybe 30 touches of the ball. He makes usually around 10 passes in the whole game. Bernardo Silva, yesterday in his interview, was saying he's a weird guy because for 30 minutes he won't touch the ball
Yeah.
and he doesn't care. But so long as he gets a chance at some point in the game, he doesn't care about not getting the ball because he knows what he is. He's one of the world's best goal scorers. Do you know what I mean? And you don't need to be dropping 30, 40 yards to pass the ball to Rodri every 5 minutes, which some players do, because no one cares about that. All people care about, for a striker's point of view, is putting the ball in the net. And I always say, right, I remember this comment from Alan Shearer many, many, many years ago on Match of the Day, and he was talking about a striker who was going through like a rough patch of form at the time. I forget the name of who it was. And they were showing the clips, and this striker who'd not scored a goal in 10 games or whatever, kept on dropping deep, to try and get on the ball, try and make stuff happen. And he said, and it makes perfect sense, he said, the best thing you can do as a striker if you're not scoring goals is just goal hang, bro. It's just stand in the penalty area and wait for the ball to drop at your feet where you can just knock it in the net. And Erling Haaland is always in that position. Combine that with his superb finishing, it's a madness. And that brings me on. Do Chelsea have the facilities, do you think, to be able to stop Haaland from doing a madness? Obviously, in the Premier League game, you've got the FA Cup. I don't know if he's going to start in the FA Cup, but let's go with the Premier League. Do you have the facilities?
Do we have the capacity? I'm not sure, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not confident. I mean, he has scored against basically everyone, right? Apart from maybe 1 or 2 teams this season.
Liverpool and Bournemouth and Brentford.
Yeah, and I remember Liverpool, not the Bournemouth one. I didn't watch that, but I watched the Liverpool, and Van Dijk and Gomez had to have all-timer performances, like all-timers. They were back to their very, very title-winning best partnership. So, I'm looking at our defense and we're leaking goals. Obviously not against Bournemouth, but in general before the World Cup. Thiago Silva's holding it down, but his partner at the moment in crime, because it is criminal what we're watching at times, Koulibaly, he's looking shaky.
Is it that bad?
He is, bro. I have so much time for him because I think he's been a great defender in Serie A.
Me too. I said it was a brilliant signing, bro.
I was like, oh, we've signed him. Yes, he might take time to get up to speed, but he's really good technically, ball playing defender. Yes, he's got pace, but he's intelligent. I think he's going to be able to make the adaptation, and he's going to potentially, hopefully, lead our defense after Silva for maybe at least, hopefully, a season or 2. But the way that he's played so far, he shouldn't really be starting this match. To be honest, it should be Trevor Chalobah that comes back in, who was probably arguably our best defender before the World Cup. So for me, if he starts, I'm not saying it's a wrap, but he has to step up massively because the performances from him are very shaky. On the ball, he doesn't look composed. Off the ball, he's not playing well, obviously defensively. So he does worry me. And then Azpilicueta on that left-hand side, Grealish got man of the match, I think. Well, in my opinion, when we played you in the Carabao Cup, where you beat us, and it was actually quite an even game, but you guys are just much more clinical. Grealish was great, and Grealish is one of these players that he's getting a lot of heat because, he's not delivering to people's standards. But listen, he didn't play great against Leeds, but he got his assists. Do you know what I mean? So do you want the stats? Do you want the performance? Sometimes you're getting one game, you're getting one the other game. But I know if he plays or Foden plays, Azpilicueta is in for a long day. So those are the 2 players on that side that I have worries about. And yeah, those 2 are the weak points for me at the moment.
Interesting. Final sort of comment then. Just to remind you guys, we did do another video on Matisse's channel, much longer, much more in depth, and a lot of Chelsea talk there as well. But from a sort of outsider, you told me before you didn't watch the Everton game, right? But you've watched quite a lot of City games this season. I don't know if you watched the Brentford game, Fulham game, 2 games where we really struggled at home. We did beat Fulham, but it was a difficult one. Is there anything from like your point of view that maybe unbiased sort of opinion that maybe why are they doing that? Or if they just did that, then that could be a little bit better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because as City fans, we're looking at the team. We're happy with the players we've got. Obviously, there's always stuff you can improve, maybe a winger, a left back, all that kind of stuff. But from a neutral point of view, from your side, anything that you're noticed when you're watching City, why are they doing that or anything?
I do think that there is a lack of width. We spoke about it a bit on my channel, but to further it, I think I've actually been thinking Alvarez. I wonder if he can change things because Haaland is making the runs, and he's the guy that everybody's looking out for. And when the decoy is there, like a Foden at the start of the season, and I think Sané would have been a great decoy, Sterling would have been a great. These guys would have made the off the ball runs where you take advantage of the attraction of Haaland. But right now, everything's really not. It's a bit predictable, and it's a bit in front of the defense. Everything's really obvious and in your face. And the crosses are, from De Bruyne are quite telegraphed. If it's not an incredible pass, which he's been playing, then obviously that, he's going to try and play that pass. And as long as you can somehow defend it, then that's one of the big problems taken care of. But there's a lack of versatility in that attack. It's very narrow. Like we said, Mahrez cutting in. You got Grealish cutting in. Rico Lewis, who I think has been really, really good, really impressed with him, the way that he's taken on the tactical responsibility to come and pair up with Rodri and make it a double pivot. But he's then coming inside. Cancelo's coming inside. And Pep, when you look at Pep's teams and you look at, Barcelona and Henry, chalk on the boots, they hold the width because they want to create more space inside. And there's runners. And yes, there are brilliant players like Xavi or De Bruyne or Gundogan or Bernardo Silva playing those passes, those little dinks over the line and over the line of defense to just make it all come together for the cutbacks. But if there's no width to begin with, then if everybody stays compact, then there's no room to maneuver. There's nowhere to go. It just becomes everybody just gets suffocated. So I think that's one or quite a few areas in terms of just width and runners that is holding you guys back. It's all very predictable and in your face. And defensively, obviously with the whole shape. I mean, you guys are there to be got. I saw the Brentford game. You struggled with the physics. You struggled with. I mean, to be fair, you're not the only ones to struggle with Brentford. Look at Liverpool.
That's true.
Look at Tottenham. Look at us. We drew with them. They slapped up Man United. They actually beat us 4-1 at the Bridge. I saw last season when I went back and looked at it. So they actually the top 6 Terminators right now. They really are. Only Arsenal have taken maximum points, but I saw the way you guys struggle with the physicality of them going long and holding the ball up from the front and dealing with it there. So I think your defense is a lot weaker than it usually is. And I don't know, it's a
madness, bro, because
it's a lot back there. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. Kanji, it's crazy, man.
What you're saying is pretty much what City fans are saying. And that's, it validates what City fans are saying. Like, yeah, this is probably true, but it's also like, why is it so obvious, man? Yeah, I mean, how can this obvious thing, which City fans are saying, which you're saying as a Chelsea fan, maybe Pep needs to try and find a way. And I said it on your stream, I'll say it again now, that for me, guys, the number one thing you could do to help improve this is go back to a flat back 4. John Stones in the middle, Walker right back, Cancelo left back. I think that would help no end. Yes, it's harsh on Rico Lewis, but you've got to think of the team first and foremost, and then you can help develop him. But look, that's our madness. It's going to be a crazy week, bro. 2 games in the space of 3 days? It's a crazy situation. We spoke a lot more in depth about sort of results, who needs what results and all that kind of stuff. But just finally, just to sort of, just in case fans don't go over to your video, which I would recommend you do because it was a sick video. From a Chelsea point of view, bro, what you need a win, man. You could be in 9th. You could be in 10th if Brighton get a win over Everton. Is a draw good enough? Do you take a draw and go, we got a draw against the champions? Is that good enough, or you saying, nah, man, we need a win?
I think for Potter and for his, I think it depends on the way we do it. If we get a draw and it was a great performance and we were knocking on the door, creating chances, and we just were unlucky or we weren't clinical, but we showed style of play, we showed that we could take the game, we showed tactical nous, and we knew when to drop off and defend and when to attack and take advantage. Good, impactful subs. If all of those things came with the context of a draw, I would be okay. I'd be okay with the draw. But if we get the draw by shithousing it like we did against Manchester United and we play poorly, then Potter's going to be up for questions again with performance in big games. So it depends on the context, but ideally, with where we are, it is really every game's a must win. If you draw against Nottingham Forest, you have no right to say that a point against Man City is enough either. You're going to drop points against Nottingham Forest. You better go and win points where you don't expect to. So we need to win the game. To be honest, we need to win the game. Yeah. City
need to win it as well, man. Otherwise, Arsenal are going to be running away with it, and nobody wants that. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream. Subscribe to both channels, man. I'll link Matisse's channel in the title. Go check out the video that we've done on his, the sick video. And if you're an Xtra Club member, by the way, got a sick video coming for you. Yeah, we're going to talk about who's going to win the Prem, top 4 race, relegation, and Champions League winners. It's going to be a sick one. Link is in the description if you want to get on that. Other than that, man, peace out. See you in the next one.